Good morning. Welcome to Sealand the News Brief. This week is 18th week of the year. Well, let's take a look at the 30-year fixed rate. Everybody's looking into the mortgage rate. Well, this week, the 30-year fixed rate is 5.375. And 15-year, 4.625. FHA remains pretty much the same, and 10-year Treasury yield still went up 2.93. And from this week, I included 5-year ARM interest rate, because we're going to talk about in the news session that because of 30-year fixed rate mortgage the rate is really high. It looks like moving up to mid fives. So a lot of people start thinking of 5-year ARM or 7-year ARM. That means adjustable mortgage rate. And so 5-year ARM, the interest rate is 4.999. So it's still better than 30-year right now. And 7-year, 5.250. It's a little bit lower than 30-year. So you might look into a 5-year ARM depending on your situation. Okay, if you can sell your house within 5 years, next 5 years, this might be a good option. And also you will watch out the difference. Right now is less than this 5-year ARM rate, and 30-year rate is less than 1% right now, right? So if this difference becomes 1%, this gap becomes wider, about 1%, a lot of buyers will look into 5-year ARM program. Okay, let's move to first news. I don't know, you remember, I think this issue been years from now. The news says 4-year legal battle. And the Livonia, the town, tried to ban the local traffic to avoid the traffic jam through Route 46, Route 4, Route 95, and they detour through the Livonia local roads. Then about 4 years ago, Livonia adopted new ordinances to block them. Okay, non-residents driving into the Livonia. Okay, but the state appellate court has ruled that the borough cannot ban non-residents from using its local street. Okay, so that means Livonia, the town municipality, failed to block out the non-residents driving into the town street. Okay, so they cannot do that. They cannot prohibit. So latest ruling in 4-year battle over cut-through streets. And at the time, Livonia drew a nationwide attention when they adopted the ordinances in the early 2018 to prevent shortcuts on all or part of 40 local roads at the time. But they failed anyway. So it is not clear whether Livonia may appeal the ruling. And the news people left a message to town officers, but they never returned. So I think it's good news, because it's a really pain if you try to avoid the Livonia when you commute to the office. So I think it's good, and also it's good for local store owners. At the time, the Livonia kind of block out all non-residents, going through their town, and the people hate to go to Livonia, even shopping or etc. So store owners had really complained, get rid of these ordinances. Okay, but anyway, so it happened. 그 리오니아에 한 4년 전서부터 그 리걸 배럴이 있었던 거 기억하시죠? 로컬 트래픽을 자기네, 그러니까 그 루트 495 AD가 막히니까 이제 로컬로 해서 돌아서 가는데 리오니아가 그거를 안 되겠다 그래서 그거를 이제 블락하기 시작했잖아요. 타운 어디넌스를 새로 만들어 가지고. 그래서 사실은 많은 불평이 있었죠. 상가들 주인들은 그렇게 되면은 사람들이 레오니아를 싫어하고 안 가게 되잖아요. 아, 레오니아 거기 무슨 운전도 못하게 한단 말이죠. 다른 주민들은. 그러니까 상가들도 불만이 많았었어요. 근데 타운에 고집 센 분들이 아마 있었던 것 같아요. 타운 모두에. 그래서 타운 어디넌스를 그렇게 만들었다가 이제 그게 지금 스테이트 항소법원이라고 하냐, appellate court, 거기에서 너네 그렇게 할 수 없다. 그렇게 판결을 내려준 거예요. 그러니까 이제 레오니아는 어떻게 할지 모르겠어요. 그러나 그 좋은 방향인 것 같아요. 개인적으로. Okay. Next news is use of poly bags, the vinyl bags, right, and the styrofoam cups or utensils is prohibited in New Jersey from today, May 4th. From today, all customers have to bring their own bags or pay $1 to $2 to buy recycled bag from grocery stores, pharmacies, and convenience stores in New Jersey from today. And also, stores over 25 square feet are prohibited to give away paper bags. What about paper bags? Okay, but that also prohibited. But poly bags will be allowed for wrapping uncooked meat and fish, and fruits, nuts, vegetables, and flowers. There's exceptions. And also, restaurants cannot use the styrofoam cups, okay, and containers and utensils. And plastic straw can be used only when customers ask. Some details, but what about the penalty? The charge for first offense will be verbal warning, and the second offense will be up to $1,000, and from third offenses will be up to $5,000 penalty. 이제 오늘부터 다들 아시겠지만 오늘부터 뉴저지에서는 이제 비닐 봉지 사용을 못 한다고 합니다. 그래서 온 백을 가져가시든지 뭐 토트백 같은 거 있었죠. 작년에 우리가 실내에 녹아 들어간 토트백 만들었었는데 그걸 가져가시든지 하여튼 자기 백을 가져가시든지 아니면 그 리사이클된 백을 1불이나 2불 주고 사야 된다. 그러니까 1불, 2불 차지가 더 되겠죠. 뭐 약국이라든지 그로서리 스토어라든지 컨비니언스 스토어 이런 데서 그렇고 그 다음에 그럼 종이백을 가게에서 주면 어떠냐? 그것도 2,500 스퀘어피트가 넘는 스토어에서는 종이백도 줄 수 없다. 근데 이제 허가되는 품목이 있어요. 그 팔리백, 비닐봉지를 사용할 수 있는 거는 쿡하지 않은 미트, 고기나 피쉬나 그다음에 이제 프루트, 채소, 견과류 이런 것들, 플라워 이런 것들은 또 예외 괜찮다. 그리고 레스토랑들이 이제 그 스타이로폼, 그 스티로폴이라고 한말로는 그러는데 왜 그렇게 됐는지 모르겠는데요. 그 스티로폴 컵 같은 거, 숟갈 젓가락 이런 걸 못 쓴다. 그리고 빨대라고 그러죠. 스트로는 플라스틱으로 된 거는 커스터머가 요구할 때만 줄 수 있다. 자, 그래서 처음에 걸리면 워닝이고요. 버블 워닝이고 두 번째 걸리면 up to $1,000, 세 번째부터는 up to $5,000 벌금이 매겨진다. Okay, the next news is U.S. economy shrinks 1.4%. we're talking about, I think everybody knows it, GDP was declined by 1.4%. Well, typically the GDP growth usually, right, 5% or 6%. That means good. But first quarter declined, reduced 1.4% in US. Okay, but still, underlying strength in consumer and business spending suggested growth will soon resume. Still, spending is pretty strong. And it is a sharp comparison between last year fourth quarter and the first quarter this year, because last year fourth quarter GDP growth is 6.9%, and but the first quarter of this year minus 1.4%. And this is weakest since spring 2020. Okay. And why this happened? This Wall Street Journal says primarily is from widening trade deficit. Imports to US is increased, okay, and exports fell. So dynamics reflecting the pandemic-related supply chain constraints. We have that supply chain constraint problem. And also slow pace of inventory investment. A lot of businesses, they should have sound inventory investment. That means they make a lot of things and then they keep the inventory. That is a good indicator to the sound economy, but it's lower. Inventory investment is lower first quarter. So that's why GDP declined 1.4%. But this GDP report is unlikely to change the Fed's plans to raise interest rate. The FOMC meeting is being held today and tomorrow, right? But this decline will not affect the Fed decision. Everybody is saying today, tomorrow, from the FOMC meeting, they will decide 0.5% increase, not 0.25%, not quarter percent, but 0.5% point. That means that much quicker increase. 지금 다들 들으셨겠지만 first quarter의 GDP가 gross domestic product이라는 거죠. GDP는 여러 가지 이렇게 몇 가지 부분에서 통계를 내서 자료를 구하는 거죠. government spending 있고요, consumer spending 있고, 그 다음에 이제 export하고 import 그 차이 이렇게 해서 이제 다 더하면은 이제 GDP가 나오는데, 아무튼 그것이 1.4% 줄어들었다. Okay. From the previous quarter는 6.9% growth인데 차이가 지금 많다. 근데 그 major reason은 지금 trade deficit로 본다. 그리고 이제 기업들이 인벤토리에 투자를 안 했다. 그렇게 지금 보고 있다. 그런 얘기죠. 그래서 팬데믹 우리가 지금 그 끝 쪽에 와 있는데 지금 미국이 상당히 그 supply chain이 엉켜진 그런 문제를 지금 가지고 있어서 그런 것들이 임포트는 그래도 많이 했는데 지금 엑스포트가 못 나간다. 많이 떨어졌다. 그런 지금 상황인데 그 1.4% 줄어든 거로 인해서 페더럴 리저브 그 FOMC 회의를 오늘 지금 하고 있죠. 오늘 내일 거기에서 기존 금리를 0.5% 올리는 거에 변화를 주지는 못할 것 같다. 그렇게 월스트리트저널은 지금 보고 있습니다. Next news is, well, home buyers lock in rates fueling prices. That means first the home buyers try to lock in the rate because they fear the interest rate is going up. That also trigger the prices going up. Especially first quarter, we have seen that. So home prices to continue to surge in virtually every corner of the U.S. during first quarter, as the home mortgage rate rose rapidly. Okay, NAL reported. So many buyers rushed to lock in the purchases in the first quarter before rates climbed even higher. Okay, that's what they feel. And so that's why median prices for single-family existing homes were higher in first quarter compared with a year ago in all metro areas. All over the U.S., 181 metro areas of total 185 metro areas. So all price went up, median prices. And but still demand continues to outpace supply. You saw the graph before, and still demands continues to outpace supply. And the persistent shortage of homes for sale is still prompting bidding wars among buyers and pushing the process higher, prices higher. Okay, and in general, economists expect the rising mortgage rate to lead to slower home price growth by the end of this year. Remember the Lawrence forecast? And he's saying the turnaround point might be the mid of this year, but most economists expect to lower home price growth by the end of this year. And the ability to some households to work remotely continues to spur home buying demand, especially like rural area. So still it pushes the demand. Ability to do hybrid work, for instance, and millions of millennials are also aging into their prime home buying years. But prime home buying years means, let's say, they got married and they have kids, and then kids want to go to school. And so that is kind of a prime home buying years for them. Nice single homes, the backyard, and so they can raise their children with a good memory and with some enough spaces at home, etc. So these millennials going into that time period, so they need more house, they need bigger house, a nice house, etc. So demand is still there. That was point. And the medium sales price existing single family home in the US. I think we talked about already. So Wall Street Journal is very good at come up with the chart, and I love it. I love them. It's very easy to see. So this is year 2020. Okay, median price is below 300,000. Okay, and year 2021, it's start going over 300,000. But between year 2021 and year 2020, so far, it went over, much over, like $350,000 range. And the early 2022, it's first quarter 2022, 368,200. In this point, the 15.7% from a year earlier. So see this is a rising curve here. That's mostly we keep crying, oh, home prices are rising up, like that. Okay, you can see this chart. 지금 홈바이어들이 퍼스트 쿼터에는 적어도 지금 월스트리트저널에서의 보고는 물론 NAR의 리포트를 코트했었지만 적어도 퍼스트 쿼터에는 바이어들이 이자율을 락을 많이 하려고 하니까 purchase, buy, lock 이자율을 왜 더 올라갈 것 같다는 생각 때문에. 그런데 그것이 또 무엇을 일으켜요? 또 집값을 또 푸시를 하잖아요. 그죠? buy 하니까. 그래서 지금 디맨드가 서플라이를 훨씬 지금 능가하고 있다. 그러니까 우리가 아까 차트에서 봤죠? 지금 인벤토리는 지금 툭 떨어져 있다. 그죠? 그렇게 막 하고 있으니까. 그래서 여전히 이 쇼티지 문제 때문에 비딩 워가 피할 수 없는 지금 그런 상황입니다. 대부분의 이코노미스트들이, 경제학자들이 가격 그로스가 집값 올라가는 게 슬로우 다운 되는 거를 언제로 보느냐 하면 올 말로 본다. 아까 로렌스 그 얘기에서는 아마 중간 한 준 줄라이쯤에 턴어라운이 되기 시작할 거다 뭐 이런 얘기를 좀 했었잖아요. 그래서 그거하고도 우리가 연결해서 볼 수가 있겠다. 그리고 지금 이제 두 가지를 볼 수 있는데 왜 이런 현상이 아직도 나타나냐 하면 아직도라고 말해도 되겠죠. 그 하이브리드 워크 패턴 같은 게 가능하기 때문에 여전히 그 집을 사는 디맨드는 계속 있고, 그 다음에 밀레니얼들이 이제는 조금씩 나이가 먹으면서 그 소위 우리가 얘기하는 프라임 홈 바잉 이어라는 게 있어요. 우리가 라이프 사이클을 쭉 보면 이제 성장해서 자라서 결혼하고 나이 먹어가고 아이들 갖고 하는 거, 그다음에 이제 늙어서 은퇴하고 하는 쭉 사이클이 있잖아요. 거기에 지금 밀레니얼들이 프라임 홈 바잉 이어에 지금 들어가 있다. 왜냐하면 집을 갖고 싶고 자녀들을 거기서 키우고 싶고 좋은 매물을 갖고 싶고 그런 때가 있죠. 그 다음에 이제 아이들이 크면 리타이어 버리니까 그렇게 그 디맨드가 크지는 않다. 자, 그런 상황이고 이 차트를 아까 보여드렸고요. Okay, next news is finally we're talking about adjustable home mortgage rate. MBA, MBA는 뭐죠? Mortgage Bank Association, MBA, has reported that new mortgage application reduced 8.3% this week from last week, and it is about half compared to a year ago. So that's a significant change. But that means all the mortgage business get cut by half this year. But the applications for variable interest rate program, which is ARM, we call, increased. The application for 5-year ARM increased 9% this week from last week. And it is a double from 3 months ago. So definitely we see the trend. Now they're looking into ARM. Typically, if the difference between 30-year fixed rate and ARM is bigger than 1%, then a lot of people will move to ARM program. So the ARM program application increased. As the Fed increased federal funds rate in May means today or tomorrow, and continues quantitative squeezing policy, the difference between the two programs become wider. So we'll expect that the difference becomes 1%. In the future. Right now, as we see in the beginning, it's less than 1%. There's the difference between these two programs. 지금 아마 벌써 손님들하고 얘기를 하시는 분들도 있을 텐데, 손님 측에서 얘기를 하시는 분들이 있고요. 이제 모기지, 어저스트블 모기지 레이시 지금 등장하기 시작했어요. 다시 등장이 아니라 그쪽을 이제 많이 어플라이하기 시작했다 이런 얘기죠. 그래서 제가 케이스 지금 벌써 5년 ARM 프로그램으로 투베드럼 칸도를 오퍼 놓고 시작한 거를 벌써 우리가 지금 케이스가 있어요. 그래서 여러분들도 생각을 해보시고 지금 현재까지는 1% 차이는 안 나요. 그죠? 아까 위에서 보셨지만은 그러나 1% 차이가 나기 시작하면은 많은 사람들이 이제 암으로 모이게 된다. 그래서 암은 뭐 5년 안에 어떤 변화가 있을 그런 상황이면 아주 좋죠. 그러나 리스크는 5년이 지나면 이제 뭐 마진 레이시라는 게 이제 있는데 그거에 따라서 뭐 심하면 1.5%도 올라가고 2%도 올라가고 뭐 2.5%도 올라갈 수도 있다는 것이 이제 단점이긴 하는데 이제 5년 안에 어떤 변화가 올지는 아직 모르지만 또 5년 안에 리파이낸스 할 수도 있고요. 아니면 집을 팔 수도 있고 그런 가능성은 있다. 그거죠. Okay, the next news is this is interesting kind of media report. Okay, I would say YIMBY movement spread as home prices soar. YIMBY, the versus NIMBY. YIMBY is yes in my backyard, and NIMBY is not in my backyard. So NIMBY movement usually, let's say some ugly factories or some substation, etc. They try to build that kind of facilities in your town. They usually say NIMBY phenomena. They oppose. They don't like that. So go away, go away. Kind of the phenomena is a NIMBY. Okay. No, not in my backyard. But what about YIMBY? YIMBY, yes, in my backyard. What's happening is the YIMBY spreads in the Bay Area in San Francisco, California, while the home price is really skyrocketing. That means this movement leaders claim that more new constructions, either luxury apartment or government assistance affordable rental program, doesn't matter, they should be built in order to resolve the issues of home prices soaring and the homeless people increasing. So that's what they insist. And also they claim that keeping the current situation without increasing home supply will victimize the people for affordable housing and residential rentals. Well, in a sense, yes, agreeable. Okay. But also opponent of YIMBY claims that too much housing supply will create heavy traffic and gentrification, and that existing middle-class people will push away from the area. Well, if they build a lot of luxury apartments, then it can happen. But depends on, well, if they build a lot of affordable housing, it's different. So local governments should focus on affordable new construction. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It says so. So they said, opponent of YIMBY leaders saying the government should build more affordable new construction. 그 NIMBY라는 거는 들어보셨죠? 뭐를 좀 공공시설을 지으려고 그러면은 우리 동네는 안 돼 하는 것들이 이제 NIMBY라는 거죠. Not in my backyard. 좋은 건 알지만 우리 네이버는 안 돼. 이런 현상, 그걸 NIMBY라는데 지금 반대로 YIMBY, 많이 좀 지어라. Yes, in my backyard. YIMBY 현상이 지금 특히 캘리포니아의 베이 에리어에 나타나기 시작했다. 왜 그러냐면 그 주장하는 사람들은 무슨 주장이죠? 이거 서플라이가 지금 하우징 서플라이가 안 되면은 지금 집값이 계속 올라갈 거고 그다음에 홈리스들이 늘어난다. 그런 주장이죠. 그래서 지금 YIMBY 현상이 지금 캘리포니아에서 나오고 있다. 그런 거고요. Next news is Fed officials adopt a gentle approach to taming inflation. Well, this is a really hot topic. Either today and tomorrow, again, we will see. They're going to make a firm decision on raising federal fund rate by 0.5%. But well, they want to have a smooth landing, a soft landing, they call, and it's for sure. For instance, Jerome Powell and his colleagues are expected to raise interest rate 0.5% point on Wednesday today, which would be the largest increase since 2000. And officials have also signaled that they will release a plan for shrinking their $9 trillion balance sheet starting in June. So it looks like they are pretty much formed whatever they talked about so far. And that means this policy move that will further push up borrowing cost, so higher interest rate to borrow. And but Fed response to hard inflation is already having visible effect, which means the climbing mortgage rate. Yes, it is climbing up, and also stock prices are wobbling. I don't know how many people you are monitoring stock prices, but it's wobbling. It's fluctuated. It's not good in general. And about 4 months ahead could be volatile for both markets, the housing market and the stock market. And when the economy as the nation sees whether the Fed can slow rapid wage growth, another problem we will face is wage growth. Okay, it's pressure for business to give higher pay to the employees, and also unemployment might jump. Okay, that's kind of also worries. And many economists do expect inflation to peak in the months ahead. Still is going to be higher months. How many months, we don't know. But though it is unclear how long it will take for it to come back down from March 6.6% range, and especially in the line with the 2% annual rate the Fed targets on the average over time. So these kind of concerns we have in the few months in the future. 그 페드에서는 가능하면 이제 연착륙이라고 그러나요? 연착륙을 하고 싶어 하는데 그거는 이제 그 위시고, 그래서 오늘 이제 FOMC 회의에서 결정을 한다. 그러니까 이자 기존 금리를 기존 그 이자율을 기존 금리 이자율을 0.5%로 더블로 이제 보통의 스텝에 더블로 올리고, 그 다음에 이제 돈을 풀었던 거를 이제는 스탑하고 이제 걷어들이는 그런 입장. 그래서 9 트릴리언 이 돈을 풀었던 거를 이제 점차 줄여간다. 그래서 지금 벌써 이런 현상 때문에 지금 하우징 마켓이 이제 좀 쿨링 다운된 느낌이 있지 않느냐. 그다음에 스탁 마켓도 지금 막 이제 내려가면서 조금 업앤다운 플럭추에이트 하고 있는 그런 상황이다. 벌써 비주얼 그 이펙트를 우리가 볼 수가 있다. 그런 거고요. 지금 제일 문제는 지금 이렇게 인플레이션이 올라가고 페더럴 기존금리가 올라가면서 모기지 레이트 올라가고 할 때에 이제 그 문제가 또 대두될 수 있는데 웨이지가 프레셔를 받는다. 인컴, 페이먼트, 임플로이들 페이먼트 주는 거에 대한 이제 올리라고 하는 프레셔를 이제 받게 되고, 이제 그렇게 되면은 지금 현재까지는 unemployment rate이 좋은데 한 4% 정도, 그거에 또 문제가 되기 시작하면은 좀 힘들지 않나 이런 예측이 지금 있고요. 그다음에 인플레이션은 아마도 앞으로 적어도 months 몇 달은 더 갈 것 같다. 그리고 그게 언제 그러니까 피크 되는 게 지금 8% 막 이 정도가 계속 갈 거고, 몇 달은 언제 이제 그것이 내려올지는, 그래서 다시 안정세로 마르치에 6.6%, 그다음에 페드가 지금 계속 오랫동안 타겟하고 있는 2%로 다시 내려올지는 얼마나 걸릴지는 모르겠다. The last news is Amazon has first quarterly loss in 7 years. Wow, what's going on with Amazon? Or what's going on in general? Online business, is there something, some different situation starts? Well, Amazon.com posted its first quarterly loss in 7 years. How much? 7% loss. The result that reflected the broad economic trends related to the slump in online shopping. The Wall Street Journal mentioned the slump in online shopping, higher cost from inflation and supply chain woes, as well as market jitters over electric vehicle startups. Well, I don't know what's thing to do with electrical vehicle startups, but anyway, the article says that. And so revenue actually rose 7%, okay, in January to March period, but the profit they reported loss. I think that's what they're saying. So slowest growth pace in about 2 decades for the last 20 years as consumers return to pre-pandemic habits. So now people are returning to pre-pandemic habit, means go to stores and in-person purchase. So the company lost $3.8 billion in the quarter, compared to with a profit of $8.1 billion a year ago. So what a difference. A year ago, that quarter, they make profit. They made a profit of 8.1 billion, but a year later, this quarter, they lost 3.8 billion dollars. There's some change, I guess. And when a surge in online orders due to pandemic lifted the company's prospect, the year ago we're talking about. And well, also Amazon might see additional cost pressures as it negotiates continued attempts by warehouse employees to unionize. So they have to deal with the union problem right now. So that will add the cost for them. So more expense. That means could be more loss. 아마존이 드디어 7년 만에 그 first quarter, this first quarter에 $3.8 billion 손실을 보고했다. Some big change죠. 지금 여태까지는 팬데믹 때문에 많은 이익을 봤는데 지금 팬데믹 끝나면서 사람들이 패턴이 좀 이제 바뀌어간다. 다시 돌아간다. 스토어에 가보고 싶어. 가서 사고 싶어. 그래서 뭐 그런 현상이 나오지 않았나. Some article에서 봤는데요. 지금 온라인 쪽이 조금 수강 상태로 들어가는 게 아닌가. 온라인 비즈니스들이 그런 지금 리포트들이 지금 나와 있습니다. Okay, that's it for this week. And any comment or any question you have? See you all next week.